Hello, party people. What is going on? Challenger EX coming at you with a little bit of a recap video here. I'm joined with my good buddy, Risen. Say hello, Risen.
This is Risen from Risen Rogue Academy. How's
So,
it going, guys?
good to have you, Risen. If you haven't already, please go check out our update news video regarding the upcoming update that's coming to the game. Be sure to check that out. Or if not, check this out. This video would be a more of a longer format where we give our thoughts, comments, um, ideas of and suggestions for the suggested updates that's coming to the game. So it's gonna be more of a longer, casual conversation with Risen, kind of bouncing back and forth ideas, impressions, and stuff like that. So if you haven't seen the news update, go ahead and watch that video first. If not, buckle in because there's a lot of to talk about here. Ain't that right, Risen?
Oh my gosh, and we have so much to say.
So first off, what do you think about this update? Do you think it's a strong update for the game? Do you think it's going to pull people in, or do you think it's more of a throwaway update? I know they have some stuff here and
Definitely.
there, but what are your thoughts?
Um, so there's some of the updates I think, like the balancing on spell seals. I don't see that being a good. I think that it's a very short term solution. What they want to do with spell seals. And they're gonna the way that they're gonna balance it is removing spell seals from PvP. We'll go on that later. I think that is a very that the solution's a little too quick. The way that they want to balance that, and I feel like a more nuanced update on exactly how they want to balance it is in order for sure.
So,
But as
so
far as the group finder, I think the group finder is going to be a game changer for optimizing the game for mobile play, and that's what I think is really important.
yeah, so I mean, I think the group search is like the main focus to this update, which is going to bring. I think it's much needed to the game. Obviously, it's an MMO. The whole a big part of the game and the gameplay kind of loop is to play with other people and go out into the world of the 12 and do stuff with them. I do think this should have come like sooner than later, just because again it's an MMO, and I think nowadays kind of like group search is it's a pretty standard thing in most
Mhm.
multiplayer games.
Yeah, we've been waiting. We've been
So yeah,
really
this coming in, I think it's going on to like 7 years now, right?
7 years.
So yeah,
Yes.
7 years waiting for such a like basic function is kind of like kind of sucks, but better
Overdue.
late than never.
Yeah.
Hopefully it works as intended. Hopefully it's smooth. My only issue with it is, it could be the best dungeon group search ever, but if the population's not there to support it, then people are gonna get frustrated when they're not looking for groups.
Right.
So
That's
I really do hope they address the population decreasing, especially on the. I mean, we are an English DOFUS touch player, so we're on international servers where the population has dropped quite a bit.
yeah.
And but it's cool. I think it's gonna help newcomers, which is important to for player retention. Uh, I mean, it is gonna have like the first like up to like level 100 dungeons, right? In there, it's not gonna have like you're not gonna be able to group search like Nileza or something like that. But it's gonna be helpful for the newcomers who struggle with the game a little bit, who's trying to find the ropes with how the game works and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And if you look at one of their missives, group search is only the beginning, when it comes to, for dungeons. Because right now, they're starting out level 100 and lower for dungeon group searching. But they were talking about, well, we're obviously going to eventually increase it for high level dungeons. I guess this is sort of like a trial run. Let's see who uses it. But they also were talking about in a missive that they're going to do a group search for fighting mobs, for quest fights, all that kind of stuff. So it looks like the future of Dofu's group finding is going to be this feature. So everyone's going to be using it.
Yeah, hopefully. So this is definitely an A plus update
Absolutely.
here for with this patches coming to the game. I mean, there's nothing really more to say. It's a good addition to the game. I don't think anybody's gonna be hating on group search,
Yeah.
which is cool. I do like the I do like their little key art for this update here with this little icon guy. I wish I could get like a print of this and like, put it onto my wall, but it's cool. Uh,
I think group search. I mean, it's so optimized for a mobile game. I mean, this is what we need. We need for this game to be, what is the word? Expedited. Everything you should be doing should be, you want a group, find it fast. You want to fight a dungeon, 3 rooms, get it done fast. Everything in a mobile game, you're in a waiting room. That's where mobile games came from. You're in a waiting room. You have 20 minutes. Let's play a game real quick. If you can get a group search together for like Royal Tofu and then knock it out in like, you know, 30 minutes or something like that, then that's optimal. That's ideal, and that's sort of what they're going for.
yeah, and this is a direction. I've been very vocal about the direction Uncommon's taking with DOFUS Touch. We're moving into more mobile game, and that's why it's changing a lot of like the fundamentals of DOFUS, and a lot of people are not liking that, which is understandable. But it is a game on mobile. You are fighting. The game is fighting for attention because you're getting notifications on your phone. You're checking your social media, stuff like that. So the game's gonna keep somehow. It needs a good way to keep your attention, and yeah, quick and easy, streamlined, super convenient. All these quality of life updates, they help strengthen that direction that Akama wants to go with Dofus Touch as a mobile game. So it makes sense. It makes sense. So
And talking about quality of life, another, if we want to look at the there we go.
the bonus pack.
Yeah, so they're doing an addition to the elite bonus pass that I'm really want to see, because I run a rogue in 3 elements. And to switch between 3 elements means, guys, give me a second. I need like 6, 7 minutes. I have to change my gear with a button, and then I have to change my spells. I have to unlevel them and re-level them, and I have to change sometimes my cosmetics and all that kind of stuff. With the whole elite bonus pack update that they're gonna throw down here, you can press one button, bada bing, bada boom. You're where you're supposed to be. You got your set spells and cosmetics, and all that stuff is auto, and your spell allocation in your spell bar. You put it in a certain order. That's also going to change with this elite bonus pack feature. Once again, another feature where it's making a mobile game a mobile game. You don't have a lot of time, don't worry. Press a couple buttons and or press one button and you're ready to go.
No, I dig this update. I mean, you can pretty much save different loadouts for your character, which is it's wonderful. It's a quality of life update I didn't think I needed, but now that it's here,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, I've been waiting for it personally.
I wonder why I wasn't there before. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a huge I'm a little bit of stickler when it comes to spell positions because
absolutely.
I switch between my iPhone and my iPad, and those are
Yep.
different screen ratios. So when I switch between them, my spells on the spell bar, they're all scrambled up. So it takes me like a second or two to like figure out where my spells are, and then especially when I do like more like intense fights, it's like, oh shoot, like I'm running out of time, and I can't find my spell, and it's like right there, but I'm not used to it for it to
Yeah.
be right in that position. So that's cool. Especially well, this is a fun little thing. I think spell scrolls. I think they call it. The spell scrolls. I think those will come down in price as well too. I don't think people will have a need for those as much, especially since you could on a flight you could respec your character, which means there's your different spell levels. So if you're
That's
going
a good
from
point.
so if you,
I didn't really think
yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
so if you're going from I play Earth Ram, right? If I want to switch from Earth to Air, I'm not gonna need level 6 lethal attack, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna take out those skill points and put them into my main air spell, and I could just move these spells back and forth. So I don't need a level lethal attack to level 6 and then have con at level 6 as well, just so I could play both. So
I
I
think
do see
convenience and
yeah, so I do see those coming down a bit, just because character build is going to be a little bit more versatile. And same with the character, your stat points. I don't need to go in there and reset my stats and allocate my points all the way to 300 again. So super convenient. Another A
yeah.
plus quality update.
And I think convenience in general is just better for the economy. Like you have, for example, when this game came out right away, they added the feature that you could open the marketplace from anywhere, sell anything from anywhere, and that caused people to not stock up everything and just sell whatever they had. So it boosted the economy, and then you have the bank and inventory mixed together, and that made it easier for you to craft things and to sell things. And I think every time they make things more convenient, it makes people less reluctant to get done with their professions, get done with their battles, everything that they want to do. And I think that's partly like the group finder is the same way. You know, if you can press a couple of buttons, wait 5 minutes, and then get straight into a dungeon, more people are doing dungeons. If more people are doing dungeons, more people are dropping stuff. You know, it's just the more convenient it is, the more people play the game, the better the economy does because more is being produced.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. So, yeah, so that was the elite bonus pack. A small update, but I think it makes a big difference, especially people who, like to even mix up how the character looks here and there. And then they also talked about, let's see, the next thing, I guess we could talk about the Perceptors.
Yeah, this
Uh,
update is incredible. I'm really looking forward to it.
so I'm
Uh,
not big on PvP.
right.
So I know you're more in tune with that. So how do you feel about this update here?
Oh my gosh, this is great. So, small guilds, you're getting a breather because they're officially going to let you have two alliance members help you defend your perk, which is huge. You know, because you have a lot of guilds that are choking. They usually only have two people who can defend. If you have two people from the alliance who can help defend, that's going to be huge. You know, and then with more guilds, more autonomy, more guild leaders, less corruption. So, it's going to be a great feature to help people, um, build, you know, defend their perks, and that will be great. And then some other things that they're going to bring is so the battle is not going to be interrupted when the perk dies, which is incredible because that means you have solid 4v4s. We have like a code in PvP and we have a code in perk fights. Don't attack, don't rush the perk because we want a fair 4v4. That's what people want. Even in AVA, people are begging for AVA. They want fair fights. That's what everyone wants. And this is going to bring that out. This is going to encourage that when you do a perk fight, it's a 4v4. And I think people are going to be really excited about that. And then, back when, all the when the community was smaller in Grandapan, everyone knew each other. And so people could easily communicate, hey guys, for our perk attacks, let's not rush the perk. But now we have alliances who, they rush the perk. They don't care so much about, the whole code that we do. And this will reinforce that a perk will be a 4v4. But another thing that they're going to be adding to it is that they're going to change the perk spells a little bit, and they're going to make the perk a little bit more useful in a fight. So instead of just like spamming shields on itself or throwing a rock, that stone move or whatever it's called, they're going to make perks a little bit more competent. So I'm very happy to see that.
Yeah, so from the little I know there was like an unwritten code where it's like don't kill the perk first, otherwise the other team's like a jerk or
For sure.
for doing so, or they're being mean, stuff like that. But so the way I see it, it's like Ankama had a vision of how perk fights play out, and I think the vision is like it should like this should be a different style of battle where you have defenders and attackers, right? And it's
Right.
kind of like this new like battle mode that there was no like rules to it, so they left it up to the players to kind of enforce to kind of lean into that game mode. But I feel
Right.
like players never caught onto it, and they just wanted a straight up 4v4 without having this perk as a liability.
Yeah,
And it
absolutely.
feels like I'm kind of finally giving in and giving the players what they want. I thought like having a new battle mode, or a different battle mode than just like beating each other up. I thought it was neat. Um, Unfortunately, yeah, it never caught on.
Like a chess king,
Like a
like go
chess game,
for
like yeah, like a chess game. Like defenders, your job's to defend, not to kill the other player. Attackers, your job's to attack the perk. But the thing is, like like the fundamental design of that battle mode was never enforced. It never like changed any of the rules. It was just like regular combat scenario. So
Yeah, I feel like I feel like Uncommon knows what the characters want, what the players want. I mean, like Godzilla versus, those movies, Transformers. People come to watch robots fight and stuff like that. And when it comes to Dofus, people came to beat each other up. And so that's what Uncommon realized. They love to beat each other up.
I think sometimes they're a little bit stubborn in their design, and I don't know if this was ever changed in PC Dofus, but I know even like when I was playing PC Dofus back in like mid 2000s, it was like where people would not attack the perk, but if you did, it was kind of shunned upon because of
Right.
this unwritten moral code. But no, it's good. I like how the Perceptor. It was always a liability, especially as a defender. You always had a disadvantage because it was
Yeah.
it was harder to defend a Perceptor than it was to attack it.
Which is a problem because for two reasons. First of all, when you're an attacker, you can organize your team to be optimized because you are the one who decides when the attack happens, and you can rally a team, and the defense is usually a lot more scrambled. The second point is that um, if you shoot, I lost my point. When you're an attacker, you have control over the situation. You can organize your team a lot more, and it's just way easier to attack and defend. My other point was that this game really incentivizes attacking a lot more than defending. Because if you defend a perk, you know, there's a cooldown before it can be attacked again. But attacking is the only thing that you actually have a net gain. Because defending doesn't really give you anything, it just
Yeah,
defends.
you just
But
don't
when you
lose
attack,
anything.
that's when you get success, and it's sort of giving defenders a little bit of an edge in such an unfair system.
Yeah, yeah. So I totally agree. It looks like a good change to me. You say it's a good change, right?
Yeah, definitely a good change.
Cool.
And don't forget, we have female preceptors now, so
There
that
we
is
go. Some
there
equality
we
right
go.
there.
So hopefully that is a good change to have female preceptors and not an issue for the way the internet is.
I've always thought these preceptors should be like their own class. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, that is interesting. That
Yeah,
would be, yeah,
preceptor class. That's an idea right there. But
that's a nice.
I've been thinking about that for the longest time. But I thought they were always like cool horse people. So.
Yeah, that is cool.
But so the next thing here too was they are introducing new items. At the time of recording this video, I have not taken a look at these items. I know you did a video on this. Do you have any comments, impressions of these items?
So I looked over these items, and they seem. I'll go over that in my other video, but that I,
But
I haven't looked over them too much. But in my other video, which will come before this one, I will go over everything. But
my
what that video won't discuss is the weapons that are going to come out um, around the same time. I believe at the same time, and that we're going to cover this video. If you take a look at these weapons, they're we have an air weapon, an earth, water, and then a three element one, and they seem pretty. They're level 200 weapons. You have the air weapon; it gives 100 of a stat. You have a two element, and it gives 70 of a stat. You have a three element; it gives 50 of a stat. It's pretty generic. It seems like. Um, Usually, I would say that if I were to go out of my way to get a weapon that would somehow go with my set, then I look mainly at resistances. I would say that's probably like, one weapon has water resistance, two of them have fire resistance. That's usually what I go for when I decide to choose a weapon. But, besides, of course, the elemental damage that I'm specifically looking for. But these just look like level 200 weapons that don't really stand out, in my opinion. But, if they particularly fit in your set, then they fit in your set.
Awesome. Yeah, so I did take a look very quickly just now. I did get sent kind of like some of the stats of these items. Well, one thing is like I really dislike how the I imagine a lot of these are going to end up in Ancestral Island. That's kind of like one-offs, right?
Right. Like,
So,
yeah,
and the little I know from PC DOFUS is a lot of these weapons are based off of boss monsters in that game.
yeah,
And obviously, I mean, we don't have a lot of that stuff here on Touch, so a lot of this stuff just gets thrown into Ancestral Island, and I think it's a missed opportunity to potentially have these items be part of like the dungeon of the boss monster that these items come from.
right.
So I do dislike that a little bit, how these items just kind of get thrown into Ancestral Island, and from what I saw too, it's a lot of these items have a um, AP, 12 AP restriction on them.
Right.
I don't know if you saw that
Oh,
too.
really? I didn't see that.
I
I will
think like
definitely.
most of these have like the less than 12 AP, and that's a big issue I have with
Yeah.
equipment overall. I'm a believer that you should be at level 200. You should be able to play your character to its full potential.
Yeah.
I don't get
100%.
why Ankama makes it so hard for you to be 12-6.
Yeah. I mean,
And
12-6, level 200 is the
level
goal.
two,
You know,
like
you're
you
selling
earned it.
yourself.
You should easily be
Yeah.
able to play. It may not be optimized, right? It might not be the best character, which is why Smith Mage comes into place to like tweak your little numbers and make them the best you can. But barring people from playing 12-6, I think it's uh, a big misstep for Kama, especially when it comes to PvP. I think so. I'm a believer that people PvP is a lot smaller than people think it is, and the reason why is because the barrier to entry. PvP in Dofus is super intimidating, and a big part of it is because people don't feel like they're ready for PvP. Even after level 200, people don't feel they're
Oh,
ready.
yes. I run into that all the
A,
time. People don't
a,
want
a
to lose,
character
so they
who
won't try.
a character who's 12-6 has a huge advantage of a character who can't get there.
Yeah.
And I know for me, I've been playing this game forever. That's the reason why I don't PvP, because I can't get a 12-6 very easily.
Yeah.
And I think once, like, you want people to PvP, make it as easy as possible. Make it as streamlined as possible. So if I could get a 12-6, I would feel like I'm ready to take on other people, right?
I don't know. I feel like PvP sets should be really hard to build because you have
No,
to
no,
stretch out the end game, you know?
good PvP sets, but that shouldn't stop you from doing PvP.
Okay.
And
You
that's
know, I
my
just
thing. Yeah.
right.
Which
I mean,
I mean, you can see it in the numbers. Like I sometimes I go to Colo, that little Colo map where you could look at people fight.
yeah.
There's usually like four, five, six fights happening, and it's always the same people fighting each other. And of course, this is talking from Grandapan's perspective. It's a
Right.
small number of people doing actual PvP.
Right. Yeah, I
Um,
think that's fair. We definitely want to bring more people into the scene, but I also understand the incentive for Uncomma to stretch out the end game as much as possible. And that's part of the reason why it's so difficult to do these things. That's why you need an EXO of this, an EXO of that, is because it also boosts the economy when you have, you know, PvP. What makes it competitive is not just the fighting; it's putting the set together. And I think that's what they really want is to make it difficult to be perfect. You know?
no, I get that, but I mean, but let's look at the results. Like PvP participation, it's super low.
Yeah,
It's
that's
it's super
that's
low.
for
It's not like it's. I know they want to make it like a big part of the game, but a lot of people don't PvP. I would
right.
say probably out of 100 people, I'd say probably less than 10 people actually PvP.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And I've tried to drag people to AVA, for example, and people. It seems like a mindset for a lot of people is that if they're going to lose, it's not worth it. They don't say that, but it's really a mentality that sits with people is that if their set isn't completely optimal, they don't even want to try.
Yeah,
It's
so
just
so I think making it easy just to go to 12-6. Just give
Right.
people the chance to play at with those stats. I think that could be a huge opener for PvP. And a lot of these items have that restriction.
Yeah.
So I think it's a huge miss when they do that. I think just make it easy, 12-6. And then if people want to go beyond, optimizing their stats, that's what Smith Nation is for.
Yeah.
But
I,
so that's my thought on items to keep introducing to the game. And the big thing is like these items, they don't really add. So like I have a full team of four, and they all have end game items, and I do feel like they're complete. And the items they add to the game, it's not like oh man, I need to get this, right? So a lot of these items, they don't really serve a purpose. A lot of time is they add an item that an item was already there that's doing a better job.
I do find it interesting that these daggers, if you look at the one in the middle, it gives neutral resistance, which is something they've talked about removing. That's kind of interesting. But
Yeah, neutral resistance. Yeah, so these are earth water. Obviously, you have the shin hand daggers, which are super popular daggers.
yeah,
Like with at level 200, like what would be the reason for them to switch to these berry bells?
yeah, that's a good point.
I mean they are a little bit more defensive. I mean they do have I'm not familiar with shin hand daggers, but they do have 25 critical resistance. But I don't know how much better they are than shin hand daggers.
Yeah, I mean, if you can craft Xi'an daggers, then there's no reason to. I don't see a reason to make the stretch and say this is what I want to switch to. So I agree with you, Challenger.
Yeah, so I think they need to take a hard look at how they're introducing these items and kind of fill the voids of like, okay, what's missing in terms of level 200 equipment, right? Like
Right,
we already have earth water daggers. Like why do we need another set?
right.
Axe. The thing with the axe. I don't know if do people use axes? I don't know.
That's a lot of air steel, though. That's a lot. But I yeah, people use axes. I'm not really good with equipment, but
Yeah, I'm
I've
not too
seen.
familiar, but yeah, I mean, the axe here. I mean, obviously the most popular uh, agility weapon I would say are the sacrificial daggers, right? But
Yeah.
even then, I wouldn't replace them for this.
Mm. And yeah, because the agility dagger, the sacrificial daggers, I believe they give range, and there, that's another point about these items is some of their replacements that are already there, have some give range, some give um, you know bigger stats that maybe some of them give summons. There's not really these are just increasing your numbers a little bit. There's nothing about them that really changes the game. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, so that's my point with these. I mean, people find a use for them, awesome, but like right off the bat, like nothing really jumps out to me. Like, oh shoot, like these look freaking awesome. I can't wait to craft them, try them out. And I'm a more of a PVM perspective. Like none of
Yeah.
these are like, oh man, this show was gonna help me beat this Frigas dungeon. This is a show I've been waiting for. I can find. So nothing feels like necessary, which I feel like it's part of the problem with touch that definitely from my perspective, and again I'm more PVM. I do feel at a point where like I've completed the game,
Yeah.
and for an MMO that's it's not a good thing.
Right. Right. Definitely.
So yeah, so
Let's go into spell seals because I'm
yeah, so
ready to
let's go into the
loosen.
seals
I'm
here,
ready to
which
throw my thoughts at this.
Wilson has a lot to say about this. So go, the floor's open. Go
Oh
ahead.
my gosh, guys! So what they're doing, they're keeping them for PVM, but removing them for PvP. And I know if you don't play Kra or Rogue, you're like, oh, I have to wait an extra turn for a cooldown because that's a lot of. I went over these emblems, and a lot of them are, hey, save a cooldown here. Maybe you have like use stimulating word twice on any, but the in PvP, most of these are balanced by removing them from PvP. But if we're talking about Rogue and Kra, man, are you kidding me? Those are my two favorite classes. And Kra, oh no, man. Oh no. You can only summon one beacon in PvP. Are you kidding me? All the other spell seals, it's like, oh yeah, it's this minor debuff, but that's a huge damage decrease on Kra. Are you kidding me? You can only place one beacon in PvP. That just blows my mind. Because I run an agility Kra, and I see a lot of intelligence Kras who they maximize their damage with putting three beacons as quickly as possible. But for me, I I'm an agility Kra. I rely on stealing MP. And the strategy I use is the more MP I steal, the less far away they can get from my beacon so I can hit them with three beacons again. But now you can't steal as much MP because you're only using a beacon in PvP. And if you're an int Kra, that's a huge damage debuff. It blows my mind. And I was already pissed off at this emblem because I needed it so badly. Because, a lot of these emblems, even before this debuff, I'm like, oh yeah, they make sense. But I'm like, Kra needs this emblem or it's useless. It's not as, it's not as optimized. But what they're doing with removing it from PvP, it's a huge nerf to Kra. And I gave someone advice on Kra the other day, and I'm supposed to be quiet about releasing a video like this where we get stuff in a little bit early, and I'm like, I didn't spill the beans, but I'm like, oh, I feel guilty giving Kra advice when they don't know that they're gonna lose a beacon in PvP. Um, so that's a huge shame. But also on the Rogue, and I know Rogue is not a very good class. It's on the higher skill level, but for that magnet, what they're doing to magnet, removing that from PvP, basically what the rogue used it for is if you cast it on yourself twice, then you can do tons of damage, being able to pull something who's 2 cells away from your wall in. But my strategy for using magnet twice before the spell seal was I would summon it, I would cast it on myself, summon a Kalit next to me, and then use it on the Kalit. That was 8 AP. They shortened it to 4 AP. Now you have to summon something again to double pull. It's a huge cost, and I'm pretty disappointed with it. But even though you can't, big whoop, you can't cast magnet on something twice. You got to put a little extra work in to get someone into the bomb wall. But Kra, really, that's a huge nerf to Kra. If you're a strength Kra, you're always good. Strength Kra is so broken. But for int and agi to only summon one beacon, I'm just not happy, and that's my spiel.
And this is just for PvP. So my thing is, these haven't been in the game for too long, right? When I'm trying to see when these were introduced.
It was a few months ago. It's not. It's kind of a new feature relative.
Oh, okay. Because again, speaking from a PVM perspective, these seals were never relevant to me. I know a big thing with them is like some seals were more practical and more useful to certain classes than the worst to others. The seals that were introduced for the classes I play Saram, Unitrof, Eni, and Osa. Um, I, I saw them and I didn't need them. And I didn't think I needed to go out of my way for them. For PvP, obviously for Kra, it seems like it was integral to like their gameplay loop. And I'm sure there's a few other classes that was the case. Were you able to summon those beacons before the introduction of the seals?
You could only summon one a turn. I mean, there is a way to summon a second one. There's the teleportation spell that makes you summon a beacon and swap with it. So you can technically summon two, but that's from up close. You're a Kra. You have to play from far, and the fact that you can't summon two in one turn is just so messed up. And I knew they would come for me eventually. because agility craw is just so broken, and I'm like, wow, we are in control with this class. And there's them's the breaks, as they say. So
Yeah, I mean,
there's
obviously, Ankama felt the need to kind of take these guys out of PvP. I mean, were they a big issue in the PvP environment? Did you feel
you know what?
like these were what's
I
the
don't
word
think
I'm
so.
looking for? Do you feel like they were kind of like
No,
integral?
I I don't. I don't think so for PvP. I mean, you get things that you a lot of it is saving a cooldown. And if you look at like power, for example, if you can use power, earlier, that is a huge damage, advantage, but it's not a strategy changer. It might be a gameplay loop. Oh, well, I have to wait one more turn to use power. I have to wait one more turn for this spell or that spell. It's not a complete strategy changer or crippling, um, blow, I guess you could say, to a class. So I think if you're not a craw, even rogue will make it. Rogue will survive. But if you're a craw, you are being slammed right now. And those are my thoughts.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be some people not happy with this change, especially for those who have like really good seals for them. Again, as a PVM player, I kind of overlooked them. I didn't think they were. Again, I didn't think like I needed them. I didn't need like, oh man, my character's missing the seal. I need to go get it for him. Um, so for me, the seals were kind of irrelevant to my gameplay experience. Again, they do seem more PvP oriented, but they're being removed from PvP. So I'm seeing now they were introduced in November during the Albera update. So they've been in the game for a little bit, over half a
Yeah,
year,
so half
for
a year.
a year, and I don't know. Again, maybe it was on the French side where people were taking advantage. People were doing some crazy degenerate stuff with the seals, and they felt the need to change them. I,
Very possibly.
maybe there were some crazy secret French strats people were using these
Yeah,
for.
very
Um,
possible.
but I do like the idea of seals. I do like how it's kind of modifying some of your spells. I always thought seals should modify your character to a certain extent, and it was a neat idea, especially when PC DOFUS has the kind of like the dual spells. It's the dual modes for the spell, right? Like where you could pick and choose between two versions of a spell,
Right.
which kind of seals are kind of like a little version of that.
I can see that. I didn't think about it like that, but you're right.
But I always
That
thought seals were like say for if you it let me see how do this is just me this is just me kind of just bouncing around an idea. It would have been cool to see like a seal where it's like for Saran, for example, you have lethal attack. It's an earth spell, but if you have this seal, it turns it into an air spell. So now you have
huh.
like another spell if you were air Saran. I don't know. I think they could do a
That
lot of
sounds
cool
like,
things with them.
that sounds like a lot of balancing.
Yeah, that too. But I
No,
think they can do a lot of cool things with them because a lot of them were like reduce cooldown by one. It's like
yeah, a
remove
lot. Most of them, yeah.
LOS. A lot of them were like they didn't have enough of an impact for me to like. Oh
Stimulating
man, this
word is
is
pretty good though. For any stimulating word, being able to use it twice. I mean, it doesn't just give AP. It also puts the blessed mark on your allies, and that's kind of huge. There is striking word, which is a 3 AP spell that also puts a blessed mark. But being able to only spend 2 AP twice and put AP on your ally as well was pretty good. But it's not completely class breaking like what they're doing to Craw. And I know Challenger, you might be like, oh, and you're focusing too much on the Craw. But it's a
no, which is
popular.
fine. Which because like I said, I know there's some seals that were like they were integral to that class. Because again, I'm
Yeah,
trying to look at the seals here. Because I know for Saram, it was like reduce cooldown. It was like increase the range of double or something like that.
yeah,
And it's like I never in my life wish. Oh man, I wish my double had more range.
yeah, yeah. Oh, jump also. Jump. Being able to jump 2 extra cells on an IOP is kind of huge. So that is also a pretty bad nerf. I just thought about that. That's pretty bad. Because IOP is about getting to the enemy, and with jump being able to land to give a pretty much a damage increase when you land right next to them. I mean, that was a pretty good spell seal to be able to jump an extra 2 range, and so that's gonna take a fall a little bit. I'm This is not an update I'm excited about personally.
But again,
As
keep in
far as
mind
mastering
this is
goes.
just for PvP. So
Right.
do you find yourself using these for PVM?
I'm probably one of the PvP players who don't really consider myself PVM at all. I run people through dungeons and stuff like that. Um, I, I, I wouldn't, I don't have a lot of feedback on that, but I think as a PvP player, I see when I do PVM, I do PVM with the focus of building myself for PvP. So that's just the way that I look at it. But if, I'm sure there's plenty of people who could give us a lot more input in the comments about how they feel about how it really could affect us in PVM.
Yeah, in the comments below, let us know. Do you guys use seals? Were these something you guys made when they first came out? How if you do use them, how often do you use them? Because yeah, I never actually made one. I know they were kind of hard to make, too.
They are hard to make,
They are
yeah.
kind of hard to make, and yeah, I'm looking at the Saram now. Their seal was paralyzing trap is no longer linear, which it's kind of it to me, and reduces double cooldown by one. Which I mean, that one might be a little bit useful now, especially since the double kind of dies.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not like I need I need my double cooldown reduced by one so I can beat this dungeon.
Yeah,
I'm
for
gonna see
sure.
what else they had. Okay, so for Osa, increases maximum number of times feline movement can be cast by one.
I mean, that's
I can
one
see that
MP.
useful for PvP. Reduces best to heal AP cost by one. Yeah, I mean, I could see. I mean, they do have like kind of niche kind of uses. I could see people using them for PvP, but yeah,
Yeah,
For PvM, they're kind of I don't know. Is
yeah.
it clumsiness?
You ready
Clums.
to talk about Wisdom, man?
Yeah, yeah.
I It's definitely a topic that I'm really actually excited about. What they're going to be doing with Wisdom is it's going to be like we're going to see a lot more people in damage sets. Really, with what they're doing with Wisdom is it's no longer going to be allocated for experience gain, which I think is huge personally because we're going to see more people in damage sets. Because we have a chart over here, I just want to take a quick peek at that. They're basically saying that even though we're getting rid of wisdom in the way that it used to be, your experience is pretty much going to be the same sort of increase. And that makes me excited because we're going to see a lot more people in damage sets getting XP and contributing to the fight. And, it's like, oh, well, what does a level, 120 have to contribute to the fight? But no, we have level 120s who are learning their class while they're XPing instead of, just they're considered leechers. I don't it's a harsh term, but and you'll have people who actually optimize their gameplay, optimize their sets. It's going to be great for the economy. You're going to see a lot of who are going to be optimizing their damage sets at like level 120, level 150, because you're just going to see, you know, Oh, well, I actually contribute all the time, in a lot of times, and I think that's huge. I think a lot of people are going to be more experienced when they're level 200 because they're going to be playing their class all the way there.
Yeah, and going to that point where like, because I think wisdom was a huge crutch for a lot of players. I think a lot of times people would rather be in a wisdom set than put the time and effort to build a battle set for their level. So not only are they going to be more capable in combat, but they actually could be contributing to the ecosystem and the economy of the game because like your level 100 set is going to matter, right?
Yeah,
You're going to want to optimize your level 100 set so you can be more efficient at fighting.
yeah.
If you reach 120, all
Great
right,
experience.
I need to look for a new set because my level 100 set it's no longer viable. So I need to get a level 120 set, a combat ready level 100 set as
Yeah,
opposed to just cruising through those levels with just wisdom,
dude,
jumping into grooves. Again, you said
dude,
leeching.
PvP will increase for lower level sets because people are going to have sets for those levels.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, this is going to stimulate a lot of things too. And again, people, you want to incentivize people to actually, play your game
Yeah,
as you intended, not just cruise through like the early levels of the game, not learn any of the economics of the game, not learn any of the fundamentals, which is super important
right.
because there is a big learning curve to this game. If you're not out there experiencing, uh, learning through failure, seeing what works, what doesn't at first hand, you're gonna struggle at
Yeah,
mid upper levels, and eventually that leads to frustration and people quit the game.
yeah, yeah. This is
So I
great
think
for.
yeah, I think it's good. Combat, yeah, and like you said, pretty much like the growth of your character on the path to level 200 is gonna be more or less the same. And again, I don't know if this graph represents a character with like 700 wisdom, which is kind of crazy, which kind of it's definitely not what the game designers and developers intended
Yeah,
as a path as a growth rate for your character, but it's gonna be more or less the same, which is good. And yeah, it's gonna be
right.
based on modifiers instead of wisdom.
Yeah, we're gonna have some items that you can mess with, some consumables that you can mess with that'll increase your wisdom modifier, or no, your experience modifier. So that'll be a little bit more exciting to see. And I don't know if you will buy them in the marketplace or the shop, but if you buy it in the shop, then that means more people opening the shop, and Ankama likes to see that. And I'm
Yeah,
sure everyone's wondering, what does wisdom do now?
yeah.
And
So as you can see here, I mean, the new formula they're gonna be using, which is player experience. It's gonna be a big part of it, but players level and this modifier, which is based on your level right here.
yeah,
So yeah, it's gonna be more or less the same. And of course, um, I think wisdom now a big part of it is gonna be there's no screen for it now. It's gonna be more heavily leaning towards like the parry mechanic.
yep, withdrawal and parry, or reduction and parry.
So
And so,
AP MP reduction, AP
yeah,
parry. So now because obviously they modified the soft caps to be standard 101, 2 to 2, 3 to 3. You can spec out your character, so it's like so you could fight against reduction.
yeah, you're gonna have a lot of Enus. You're gonna have a lot of, agility craft, for example. You're gonna have Zelwars who have wisdom, you know, more points in wisdom, because it's going to, instead it's going to advance the gameplay. It's going to advance the gameplay a lot, and you'll have enough points to put other points into damage, so you can be a Zelor who does damage and takes AP. It's gonna allow a lot more versatile builds, and I'm sure that's exactly what they want to see.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's gonna be helpful for both PVM and PvP. I know there's some like annoying enemies that take off your MP and PVM, and you can spec out your character to kind of combat that a little bit.
Yeah, and with the quick swapping between gear and spell scrolls and all the bonus pack stuff that they're going to add for switch swapping your stats out real quick, you can have a button just for, hey, this boss loves to steal my AP, I'm going to resist it, and that's a great thing.
Yeah, I think it's a good change. I think it's a welcome change. It might take people a little bit of time to get used to it because wisdom it's always been related to XP.
Yeah,
But I have no problem with it. I think it's good to simulate the game in that way where people are actually playing your game, people are participating in
absolutely.
the ecosystem of the game.
Definitely.
So it's good. It's good. And of course, we talked about how some of these items can be modified. The consumables, instead of giving like plus 30 wisdom, plus 100 wisdom, they're good. Instead of the way I read it is they're going to give like this kind of modifier number, which is going to be times 2 XP, times 3 XP, times
Yeah.
whatever that number is. And also the big thing here is that gold dragon turkeys are no longer are going to give wisdom, the actual wisdom stat. Instead, they're going to give critical hits, which I think is super interesting, super cool because I think you're going to see a lot of gold hybrid dragon turkeys in PvP,
Yeah, that will be
and people
cool.
trying to up their critical hit ratio.
Yeah, they were saying it would be like 5% if it's mixed with something else, and
Yeah.
8% if it's a full gold. So that's not too bad.
So it's
That's
good. It gives it gives a purpose for the gold turkey at level 200. It gives them a purpose for in a competitive sense where if you're trying to push over 50% on your spells, or if you're trying to get to that 50% without, because also like I know a big set that got affected by the change to the critical hit system was the AVA set, which is like the go-to agility
yeah,
set.
yeah,
And that said, you do have to put in a little bit of smith maging work to get it to get your dagger to 50%.
yeah. We actually had a something to talk about for the runes, if you and as well as the Kawit Dofus, if you want to take a look at that.
Yeah, yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But like I was saying, so now you can use that set without maging it, as long as you have a gold
Yeah,
turkey to kind of fight the
yeah,
negative malice on that set. So I think it's good. It's going to stimulate the gold tribal turkey economy. So which is cool. But yeah, of course, items got affected here with the wisdom. Wisdom room. It's gonna be changed to one sink. I think it used to be this used to be one of the heavier rooms to
right,
mage.
right.
Um, and of course,
Look how they massacred my boy.
the coward
Yeah,
the coward
they made
dofus.
Kawit Dofus pretty much a Dolmenax light. And
Yeah,
it's gonna be capped at level 40, so you have to be at least level 40 to equip it. But it'll be, you know, I feel like it'll get more people doing the quest line. Honestly, any Dofus they give from a quest line, I'm happy about it. And that's what they do on PC, and I think that's a great thing to do instead of a drop rate. But with what we have with Kawet Dofus is it's going to be useful for everybody, but unfortunately it's not going to be something you drag all the way to the end game. You're not going to have a Kawet Dofus slotted all the way to 200. So I whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, it is something you graduate from eventually.
yeah. I mean, my thing is, I don't know how I feel about this change. I know at level 200, the coward dofus it's a little bit irrelevant, but I know as a new player, getting to Dofus, Kawa Dofus, it's like a big milestone,
Right.
right? It's like a point of like of accomplishment. It's like you did something cool, and this was your reward. I know contextually, in terms of the lore, the Kawa Dofus it's not like one of the main Dofus, the Dragon Dofus, but it is a Dofus, and I
Yeah.
do feel like Dofus should be relevant at low level and high level, and because before it used to give 60 wisdom, and that
Yeah.
was a pretty huge bump with wisdom in terms of the whole XP system, and you would want to have this Karadofus equipped because of that, right? You don't want to miss out on 60 wisdom on every fight.
Yeah,
But at the same time, it's also cool that it's giving you a little bit of stats and kind of helping you
maybe
up.
encouraging a little bit of double element a little bit earlier in the
Yeah, especially if you're hybrid, like 50 points worth of stats is a pretty big deal.
yeah.
But yeah, eventually you would replace it. I would have loved to see like a passive for this character. I don't know what the passive would have been, but it would have
Maybe
been
the passive
cool.
would be 60 wisdom.
Yeah, I don't know. I know in PC Dofus, all the Dofus pretty much have passive over there, making them kind of viable for everybody.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but it's cool. I wish they would have done something different than I don't know what again. I don't know what that would have looked like, but I wish they would have done something unique other than making it into like a mini Dolomax.
Yeah.
Because I mean that's what the Dolomax is for. But it's cool. Like I have no problem with it. But at the same time, I guess what I want to say, I wish they would have done something more interesting with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah,
But
whether that meant like a passive or I don't know what that looks like, but again, the Karadofus is such a trophy for a player when you get
yeah.
it. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's a chance of Karadofus. It's cool. It's cool. And then the last
And
thing here is the some of the pets are getting modified. Some of like the
yeah, we're gonna get a little bit of a boost on pets, which is great. Pets already are pretty, kick butt because you can have like, oh, I have this Drago turkey, I need to swap it, I need to go to a paddock. We all love pets because you can swap to it at any time. They're giving us a buff to pet bit, which is really great. We're gonna actually see a lot more people using them, which means better animations because the animations on mounts is not impressive. No, but in all seriousness, I am excited about this one. You're gonna see more people, with tailored builds. Especially with the bonus pack feature, letting you swap really quickly, and you're gonna see a lot more people using a variety of pets.
yeah, and then I think these are some of the. I think specifically they're just improving the pets. Are kind of like people kind of just overlooked, just because at some
Yeah,
point they were irrelevant. What's for example like heal pets, they tended to cap like at 10 heals, which at level 200 is kind of like it's 10 heals is kind of like whatever. So there's no reason to use a 10 heal pet at level 200. 55 heals is a pretty good boost.
yeah.
Um,
If you have low AP healing spells, they're gonna do a lot better. If an extra 55 for every
yeah,
spell you
yeah,
use.
like you're probably pushing like plus an extra 200 points worth of heals just with
Yeah, I
this
can't
guys.
complain
Like if
about
you're
that.
healing like 3 times a turn, it's good. It's good. Damage wise, that was good. That was good. Huge for early level people. 17 damage is pretty good boost of damage when you're like level 100 ish or
Yeah,
below. And the resistance too. Uh, a pet that gives you 27, that maxes at 27 resistance.
that's huge,
You could very easily be able to hit that cap of 35
right?
with one element. So it's good. It gives these pets a little bit more of a purpose for people to carry around. But I do miss the area bonus when it comes to pets.
I miss DOFUS Pets, that small app they
I
had to
never.
build this stuff.
I tried it once. It looks so complicated.
It was so cute though. It
Yeah.
it really it was immersive in my opinion. From
No,
the
I
baby
do
and really
wish.
the game.
I do wish you could equip a Dragon Turkey and a pet at the same time, and the pet would kind of follow you around.
I don't think it could keep up.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll probably get stuck somewhere, but because I always thought it was weird because Dragon Turkey has its own slot and pets have their own
Yeah,
slot. They
yeah,
don't
it's
occupy the
weird.
same companion slot.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
always
it's
thought that
it's
was
a
weird
little
because
jarring.
especially I don't know if it's like a little bit of OCD. There's always like an empty slot on your character
Yeah,
equipment screen.
it's exactly what I was thinking. I just don't want to say OCD, but you're 100% right.
But yeah, no, pets are cool. A little welcome change here to the pets. Um, and that rounds it up, folks. Of course, the beta. I don't usually check out the beta unless it's it's something I really want to check out. But
They're launching it next week, and they're gonna motivate because they've got a couple cosmetics that they're gonna throw down. Basically, because it's not a lot of the updates. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go to a scarecrow, hit it a couple times with my new spells. But now they're launching a dungeon finder, so that what they're gonna do is, hey, we want you to do the dungeon finder, use it for 5 dungeons, and we'll give you a couple cosmetics. You want to take a look at that, and just keep people moving a little bit on the beta, make sure they try it out, and they get a nice cosmetic to come with it.
yeah, which is cool. I know some people are like completionists when it comes to like getting like all the cosmetics and stuff like that. For me, it's like if it makes my character looks cool, I'll probably go out of my way to get it. If it doesn't, then I don't get it.
Now I'm looking. It says so the one on the left, the helmet is 5 dungeons. Will give it to you. The one on the right, you have to do 10 dungeons, including 5 difficult ones. So
You know
that's
what'd be cool? Maybe we could stream beta and kind of live stream, kind of see how that plays out.
it's a possibility for sure.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah,
be cool.
yeah,
But yeah, folks, that's gonna be our. Is this the summer update? This is the summer update, right?
yeah. I guess so.
Yeah. So this is our update for the summer. Overall, it's just a bunch of little like quality of life updates. Nothing too crazy that's gonna like change the game. Again, group search is like the big thing here.
Yeah,
For me, I guess that's a big thing here. I guess I'll just run through. I mean, Perceptors, from a PVM perspective, it's not really that relevant to me. New items. None of these is like, oh shoot, like I need to go make. I need to go overhaul my set to get one of these. Emblems again. I never used any of these either, so that's kind of irrelevant. The bonus pack is pretty cool, because I do kind of want to get my characters to the point where like I could play them differently.
yeah,
Wisdom, it's a good change, I think, to the overall health to the game. Of course, gonna suck to those people who have their 700 wisdom sets, but
Ooh, I gotta sell my Oga set.
I still have my my crazy early level uh, prospect set.
Yeah,
That I know they changed it, but mine still has like the crazy wisdom but now it's irrelevant.
I feel like if I sell my Oga set, it'll be kind of like insider trading a little bit.
Yeah.
I have, you know what I mean? But are you able to? Okay, we'll finish this up.
Yeah. So I'm just saying my thoughts on each little thing.
Yeah,
Um, of course, they changed the items here. I would have loved to seen something more interesting with the kid with DOFUS. Um, the change to Drago Turkey, the gold Drago Turkey was good because now there's a use for it other than just power leveling your character. Making these irrelevant pets a little bit more relevant, which is nice. And yeah, overall, I think it's a good update to the game. Again, it's nothing earth shattering. I don't think it's the kind of update that's gonna like bring people back to the game. Maybe group search is,
yeah. I think group search for sure will bring people.
but yeah, I mean, for me specifically, I mean, I definitely feel I'm at the point with the game where I kind of like done everything with it. I kind of like beat it, and this is
Yeah,
why I would love to see just more content updates, just stuff for me to do. Because it sucks. Because also Waven is around the corner,
around the corner,
and
and
that's
that's gonna
gonna.
be a
I
hit.
think a lot of people are in the same boat as me, where like I've done everything in the game,
Yep.
and they're not introducing new things for me to do or new things to keep me tethered to the game.
Right.
And I think when Waven launches, it's gonna put a ton of pressure on Touch. They definitely need to focus on updates that are gonna bring people into the game
Yeah.
and keep existing players there. This update is nice, but I don't think that update does that. And again, Waven's gonna be the new shiny thing, and it's gonna be a mobile game as well too. And yeah,
I'm hoping I'm hoping that Waven is, as free to play as Dofus Touch is. I think that
I
might be
think it
what
will
makes.
be. Yeah, I
You
think
think so?
they because they do have like premium currency in there too, and and the thing about Waven is it's built as a mobile game from the ground up
Right. Right.
already. I think I think they're taking a lot of what they learned about Dofus Touch and applying it to Waven. Like Waven's going to be day one a mobile game.
I absolutely see that. Completely agree.
And yeah, I mean, my biggest issue right now, which has been a topic of conversation on the Discord and with a lot of people, is like there's they're very sparse with content updates and keeping people tethered to the game and coming back to the game, checking it out with updates and stuff like that. And yeah, it's nice as this update is specifically. I don't think this update is as impactful to keep people playing the game. So that's my thoughts. Again,
I mean, I guess we're at a little bit of because I feel like the group finder makes this game a mobile game. Because going online and begging people to play the game with you is just, I mean, leave that for PC. Now we have this computer in our pocket. We pull it out. We got 40 minutes. And you press a button, you find a group, you do a dungeon, and you continue with your day. And I think that's really the point of this. I do think that this could, bring some players back if they feel like, the game isn't as time consuming as it was. It really will save a lot of time. And that's what I think is the most important about this.
yeah, no, like yeah, I mean, hopefully it does.
Oh, and then my last point, translator. Translator, we need it. Because if we can on Grandapan is an English and Spanish server now. If we're going to be group finding, we need something that translates what the Spanish players are saying and to them what the English players are saying. Because it's gonna if they eventually have a group finder for freeze, that takes a lot of communication to do end game dungeons. And so not having a translator there could be an obstacle. And that's what I really hope for in a future update is the ability to close the language gap. And I mean, there's just so many benefits that come with that. You're going to have, a bigger community. You're going to have more people to play with. You're going to, and then some pesky, discrimination, sort of all that kind of stuff. Get all that out of the way. Closing the language gap, and that'll also, I think, make the dungeon finder a lot easier to use.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, but I know. Well, I mean, I don't know the technical hurdles for putting a translator into the game, but I know PC DOFUS does have like dedicated English channels.
Right.
I think I think that they can implement that very easily.
You know what? I never thought about that. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, just make a dedicated English recruit channel, English what's that selling channel. I think just doing that simple little filter is going to facilitate a lot of things, especially when it comes to like these group searches. Because yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I do see an issue where you get grouped up with a bunch of say Spanish speaking players, and yeah, I
The
mean, just
language
another
barrier.
hurdle, but.
What I do like is the whole pinging system changing language depending on who you're playing with. So like I'm pretty sure if you ping, heal this person, it shows up in the language of other people.
I think
And
it
so I think that
does, maybe.
is that true or no?
I don't
I'm not
know.
sure. I think that's the kind of update that would be a way easier to implement is, more ways to ping, you know, regardless of, language barriers. I think that would be the easiest way to implement it.
Which is, I mean, it's already in the game too, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure if it works that way or not. But I mean, the icons are pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think the whole pink system. I think they did a good job there too. But yeah, I would like to see filters, dedicated language filters, and
Yeah.
as simple. I mean, I don't think it has a big uh, complicated hurdle to implement something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my thoughts on the whole updates. Oh,
I have one request, Challenger.
yeah, yeah,
If you go to the third slide, and then I think if you play it, then you can show the animation for the. I just think it's really cool, the group search animation. If you can play that.
yeah. It might break.
Oh, it might break.
It might break the yeah, because I think it makes it another yeah. Either way,
It's
it'll
all,
be. I'm sure they'll post it on the social media.
yeah, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. They
yeah. But
will.
this little eyeball here, it's supposed to like
It goes left to right,
left
left
to
to
right,
right.
and then the little flame turns up. No,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, they're killing it with the visuals and stuff like that.
yeah, for
All
sure.
right, cool. So yeah. So any final thoughts, Risen? Any things you're
My final thought is I think that making the game more of a mobile game is where it needs to go. And people have a time crunch, and people, we're adults now. We grew up on this game when we had a lot of time, and now it's something that we have to squeeze into our busy lives. Everyone has kids, everyone has, a job that is demanding. Some people play at work, and those are the lucky people. But it's we want it to be optimized for a busy schedule, and I think that's what I would really like to see.
yeah, and
Yeah,
it seems like that's the direction they're going.
yeah,
And they've been very vocal about it too.
yeah,
So yeah, so like it or not, this is the direction Touch is going.
yeah.
Which
And so the last thing I want to say is that I'm Risen Rogue Academy. I'm going to be linked in the description, I'm sure, with my channel. And I have I've got a few interesting videos on the way that I'm interested in sharing, and you'll find me at Risen Rogue Academy. That's where I'm at.
awesome. Yeah, make sure you go over to his channel, give him a subscription, guys. Check out his videos. Super cool dude. And yeah, I think we're gonna wrap this up here. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation with Risen and I. Just thoughts, opinions on this update. If you want to express your opinions, comments, make sure you drop it down below. And yeah, let us know what you're excited for, what you're not excited for, um, and are you gonna be checking out the beta? And yeah, thank you for listening to this lengthy conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And until next time, this has been Challenger EX with
Risen Rogue Academy. Take it easy, guys.
take it easy, take care of yourself, and peace. Make sure you check out both of the videos as well too. And yeah, catch you guys next time. Bye bye.